Yo, what is good with you guys? It's your boy KAG, and today we're going to be discussing the Nintendo NX and what I believe it possibly is. Now, first and foremost, this is all just rumors and speculation right here, but this is what I'm going to state on the record, that I technically believe that the console is going to be a hybrid of some sort. Then I'm going to give y'all my reasons why I believe it's going to be a hybrid, and y'all can either be on my side, or you could be on the opposing side saying that no, it's not going to be a hybrid, it's just going to be a regular console, or some type of VR headset, or whatever you may think it may be. Now, let me tell you why I believe it's going to be a hybrid. Now, first of all, if you look back, we have the president of Nintendo, Mr. Kimishima, as well as our previous president, Mr. Iwata, both stating that the NX is not going to be a replacement for the Wii U or the 3DS. They're saying it's neither going to be, the successor to the Wii U or the 3DS. Now, this could be seen two different ways. It could be a PR spin where they're just saying, hey, this console is something completely new, it's a third pillar, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be a new idea, new concept. It has nothing to do with the mobile market. It has nothing to do with the handheld market. It has nothing to do with the console market. Now, if we actually looked at it that way, that would be probably the dumbest way you could actually look at it. But besides for that, it could be just saying, hey, we're just trying to cover it behind. We don't want anybody to know what this thing is, whether it's a handheld or whether it's a console. But because they keep bringing up it's neither a replacement for the Wii U nor the 3DS, that kind of leads me to believe that it could possibly be replacing both. Now, if we look back in the day when the DS was first announced, they were saying that this was not a replacement for the Game Boy, and we all know how that all turned out. The Game Boy's nowhere to be seen. Now, on top of that, we also have where Nintendo has merged their departments. So the console department is now merged with the handheld department. Those two different teams that work on their games are now merged into one team. Now, why would they merge the two teams if not to create more content for one device? Now, if they were still going to be doing two separate devices, then the teams could still remain separated. Or, why would you have one team working on the Wii U successor and the 3DS successor's games? It doesn't make sense at all. Which means that leads me to believe that they're only working on one platform. That means they're covering both games on one system. So, for example, rather than getting two Super Smash Brothers, you're not gonna get it on the Wii U and the 3DS. It'll be one definitive version that is for both on the go and for handheld. So now you don't have to have that separation there. They're able to put out a lot more games at once because now you have the 3DS market of games that are coming right after the Wii U market of games. So you'll get both styles in one console. So you may still get the same art style that a handheld would give you, but you'll also get the same art style that you would get on your traditional console. So you would get both styles in one system. Another thing, a lot of people are saying, hey, if they were to do this, it would be expensive. Now, we did see a patent earlier this year that has to do with SCDs. If you don't know what that is a supplemental computing device. Now, my belief here is that the secondary device is actually like your controller or your handheld, and the supplemental computing device is technically your console. The console gives the handheld more power. That kind of makes sense there. A supplemental computing device, why would they have an additional piece of hardware that you would connect up to your handheld or your console. That's like saying your console's not strong enough to play these games. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add another unit that's gonna give it more power rather than putting all that power into one system. So that doesn't make sense. So if you brought the two together and merged them, you would have your supplemental computing device, your console, and your 3DS successor, your handheld portion of this one hybrid, and they would communicate with each other and give it more power so that when you are on the go with the handheld portion of the console, it doesn't have as much power, but then again, you're not trying to render stuff in 4K on a TV screen. You're only rendering it on the small screen of the handheld device. That way, there's not all that confusion there and having, to add way more power just to play a game with a little more capability. So, for example, if you were playing Zelda on the go, maybe it would be graphically a little bit lower, and as well as because it's on a smaller screen, it doesn't have to render as much. But when you hooked it up to the console or the supplemental computing device, it would show in all its glory in nice crisp HD, 1080p, or 4K, because they're saying that it's going to be 4K resolution, which is displaying a video. So don't get me wrong, you're not going to be playing the game in 4K, but the resolution would upscale itself to be able to be played in 4K on your TV. Now, on the side note of that, because we have all of this confusion, Polaris, we have, people saying Tegras, but, in all honesty, have we heard anything about the handheld that's supposed to be coming out, that's supposed to be the successor to the 3DS? Not really. There's no information regarding it, but we do know that it is 2017 when this console comes out, and as of 2017, the 3DS will be 5 years old. People don't realize this, but the 3DS is older than the Wii U. It is time for it to be replaced, and I seriously doubt that they're actually gonna go ahead and also do an NX handheld the same year and release it the same year as the NX console. It doesn't make sense. They're trying to push as many sales as possible with this device, so better yet, why not combine the two? You have two separate markets there. There are people who play handhelds, and there are people who play consoles, and then there's people that play both. If you combine the two, the two markets, you have one larger market. So now your people that play your 3DS games will be over there connected with the people that play the console game. So you get the both worlds combining into one world, and then you have one bigger market, and you only have to focus on one device as far as game development goes. All your games will come out on this one console. It caters to the people that like handhelds, it caters to the people that like consoles, and they can all play together in this one ecosystem rather than being separated into two completely different sections, because you have your kids that are out there who play nothing but handheld devices, as well as you have adults that play nothing but handheld devices, and then you have those people who play nothing but console devices. But if you combine the two, you take your 30 million 3DS owners, and then you take your 20 million console owners and you combine them together. Now you have 50 million people playing one device. Now, at first, this seems like a bad idea, because you're like, oh well, now I can't sell as many handhelds, or as many consoles to two different demographics. But the sales are not in the hardware, the sales are in the software. If you combine the two together, you can sell more software to more people. So now you're selling to the 3DS owners, you're selling to the console owners. One big group of people that you're selling your software to. Now, I know all of this may sound crazy to y'all, all. But in all actuality, this is more than likely how it's all gonna turn out in the long run. You know, people always want to say, no, they would never do that. But if you look at the console right now, the console market for Nintendo is slowly dying. They had a big, huge, major success with the Wii that was, you know, they brought in a lot of casuals. Then you had your 3DS, you know, your handheld department. They're pretty stable. I mean, granted, they're not selling as many as the DS sold, but the actual group of them is pretty stable. The handheld market is pretty stable. I mean, it is declining, but it's pretty stable. So the best way to balance it out is to bring your console people over with your handheld people. That way you stabilize the whole market of gaming, and then you don't have any issues. But anyways, it's your boy KAG. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to this channel for all things Nintendo, as well as Pokemon and anything else that I'm interested in. And I'll talk to you on another video. Peace.